What's going on, friends? Logan Myerz here for Cinephellas.com. We have the last entry in the MCU for a while, and I'm talking about Spider-Man Far From Home, the sequel from director Jon Watts. Huge fan of his. He did the Clown movie back in 2014. He did the first Spider-Man movie, Homecoming, and this time around, Peter Parker and his friends are heading on a Euro trip. They're going to Europe. It's European vacation! So the startup of the film, we see Peter Parker played by Tom Holland, really excellent actor. I liked how he took over this role after the abomination that Andrew Garfield's films were, and then before that, Tobey Maguire. But he actually is a younger kid. He's more believable as a teenager, and I loved, how they have developed this guy's character over, the Avengers films. Tony Stark taking him on and making him one of the Avengers, and then what we saw with the recent film, Avengers Endgame. We have Peter Parker gearing up for his trip, his Euro trip with his high school class. He needs a fucking vacation after everything he's been through and all the Avengers went through with, Infinity War, Endgame. He's burned out. He needs a vacation. He just wants to go to Europe with his friends. He wants to tell MJ, his feelings for her. He has this big scheme and big plan. Giving her this necklace, and he's really excited and nervous, and he's clocking out. He doesn't want to be Spider-Man. But things don't turn out that way in a film like this, so they end up in Europe. It's really cool. Go to Prague and Britain and all the different countries and things like that. Really great shots in this movie. Then Uncle Nick Fury shows up and then tracks down Peter Parker because Peter Parker is ghosting him. He's basically not answering his phones. He's going on vacation. He's clocking out being a superhero, but Fury finds him in his hotel room, and it's fucking hilarious. It's really funny seeing people just kept coming to the door at the hotel while Fury's trying to talk to him, and it's all trying to be serious. A lot of great comedy in this film. Seeing Spider-Man and Peter Parker in a different country is really cool. A lot of new buildings and things he can jump and fly all over and swing from, so it's going to be, action-packed film. One thing I was absolutely excited and interested to see was Jake Gyllenhaal in a superhero movie playing Quentin Beck, also known as Mysterio. A huge fan of Jake Gyllenhaal. He's literally one of my favorite actors to date. Everything he puts out, he goes to some really dark places, and he just really pulls off great performances in whatever he's in. At first, he seems like a good guy. Him and Tom Holland have this really great chemistry. They really have a great relationship. And Quentin Beck keeps calling Peter Parker kid and kind of pointing him in the right direction, like an older brother. They just really have a great relationship. We see Quentin Beck, what he's all about. There's this particular bar scene where, Peter Parker and him are having this really great conversation. They just fought together, and, they're having a drink and just talking about life and things like that. And it seems really sincere. I was hoping at that point in the movie, I'm maybe they'll set up this character to be not a villain, be a good guy that could, lead other phases of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but that quickly changed. And I would love to see, Gyllenhaal move on into the next phase of the Marvel Cinematic Universe just because I love the actor so much, but definitely not going to happen. I honestly don't know much about the villain Mysterio just from the film. So Peter Parker gets Tony Stark's shades. He passes it down to young Peter because Tony Stark loved this kid. He had high hopes for him. He knew he can move on with life and be a great person and do great things to the world, after the death, spoiler, of Avengers Endgame. Obviously, if you've not seen the movie, you've had plenty of time. And the death of Tony Stark at the very end of Avengers Endgame, the funeral, how everybody's really, sad. A big part of them died as well, and they're trying to figure out how to move on with life and what they should do in life. And just a really great narrative, and seeing Peter Parker still overcoming Mr. Stark. He always says in the movie, Mr. Stark, Mr. Stark. Struggling, trying to keep his balance, having a personal high school life, being with friends, and then also saving the world as a superhero. Peter trying to get over this hump in life and trying to do what's right and also maintain his friendship and his relationship with MJ. So Tony Stark, even though he's not in this film, his presence was there throughout the entire film. And I absolutely love how they picked this movie up after Avengers Endgame. I wasn't sure if they're going to kind of do the film before. And obviously the action and effects in this movie are top-notch. Marvel Cinematic Universe always had the best visual effects. And again, this is another key example how beautiful and amazing it looks. There's one particular scene with Peter Parker, Spider-Man flying, like crashing into this like a big illusion, like hologram kind of thing. And it reminded me much like Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, that animated film, which I absolutely loved, with Miles Morales. And it really felt like it was in the same universe, and how they did all the effects of the colors and everything. It was just really appealing and stimulating, and I just love how they pulled that off visually. In terms of the CGI villains and monsters in this movie, they pull it off pretty good. It's like a lava monster, and there's like monster thing that comes out of the water, and it's really well done. And you see them in like Europe and all these like historical places, like fighting the monsters, and just the place falling to fucking shambles and everything, just, you know, bricks and buildings falling. I'm like, damn, you know, that's crazy. They went there. It was really cool seeing Ned and MJ return in this film. I really loved Ned in the first movie, Homecoming, but I didn't really care for MJ. I thought she was a lot better this time around. I think they wrote her character a lot better. And her scenes, you know, with Ned and Peter were really well done. And it's really interesting how quirky and awkward she is, just like Peter Parker. And they really had this great relationship. And it was interesting how he's trying to set up this, you know, moment in the movie to give her this, you know, necklace that he got, and tell her his true feelings, and how that all changes at the very end of the movie with, you know, certain people finding out who Peter Parker really is. But Spider-Man Far From Home is definitely like the European vacation of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I really love the characters in this movie. I love the introduction of Mysterio's character, played by Jake Gyllenhaal. He was one of the better performances in the film. I loved him and Peter Parker. You know, chemistry they had early on in the film, and how that all changes throughout the movie. And, you know, really the introduction of Mysterio, what he's about and who he worked with. Amazing technology, something I knew nothing about, and something that's definitely revolutionary, and also very creepy at the same time, how he sets up these fight sequences and his character of Mysterio, and them introducing this technology that Quentin really abuses and uses in the wrong way. And that's why I really appreciated this movie more than Homecoming. I just like the characters. I thought the narrative's a lot better in this film, the visuals, and just a solid follow-up and a solid sequel. And I like seeing Spider-Man out of his comfort zone, and all his friends out of their comfort zone, them being in a different country, seeing these things for the first time, not, you know, New York City over and over again. The neighborhood Spider-Man fighting New York, he's unfamiliar in this territory, and what he encounters and how he overcomes certain things. And I love the ending of the film and how they could set it up for more films. Hopefully they do with Tom Holland, because I really love this actor, him playing Peter Parker and Spider-Man. So overall, I had an absolute blast with Spider-Man Far From Home. I went into the film, laughed my ass off the entire time, just really fell into this world being in Europe with Spider-Man, Peter Parker, all his friends, and what they encounter, and seeing the introduction of Mysterio, played by Jake Gyllenhaal. And another great entry by Jon Watts as a director, you know, him working on smaller budget films and then working on these big studio films. I think he's learned a lot from the first Homecoming film to the second one. You could see that it seemed more relaxed, and it seemed like everything just flowed better than the first film, and I think he did a really great job directing this film. So I'm going to give Spider-Man Far From Home a 4 out of 5 Spider-Man hair pieces. If you guys did see Spider-Man Far From Home, what did you like about it? What didn't you like about it? What's your favorite Spider-Man film? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to hit subscribe. This is Logan Myerz signing out from the Swiss Alps. Until the next movie review, cheers!